Hello there. What's going on, everybody? I should say hello there. What's going on? Everything. All of you viewers have arrived here according to my plan. We're going to talk about Ultimate Palpatine today. This is a free expansion, optional way to play you can get over on Crabbok.com. It is up right now. My gift to you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and tell you what it is and where it came from and why it is too. So that's good. We're going to cover the who, what, when, where's, and whys. The when is now. The why is you'll find out. So Atomic Mass Games, has talked a little bit about Ultimate Encounters. We're going to talk about that. There's a lot of other Legion news too. If you guys are new here, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe. That's going to automatically enter you to win the $25 Amazon gift card. Also, check out my Discord. We have a new painting competition going on starting today. In the Discord channel, there is a contests section, and there's a Legion Wild and Crazy contest. So you will win a coveted award winner title in the Discord if you win. This is going to probably run for about a month. I want to see your wild and crazy Legion paint jobs, customizations. I want to see your Legion minis. There's a channel just for it. It's not a text channel, so just post pictures and anything that's kind of off from the norm. Great painting is one thing, but maybe you just made pink stormtroopers or something different, something non-canon. Maybe you made some conversions to do some really wild and crazy stuff. I want to see all of that. That's the theme of this particular painting competition. All right, all that admin stuff out of the way. And you can find the link to Discord in the description below, so definitely check that out. We have communities for all the different games. We have a Legion community, we have Armada community, X-Wing community, very family-friendly. Check it out. Great community. All right, so let's talk about these Ultimate Encounters. That's the whole point. That's why you're here, all right? So Atomic Mass Games was doing their live stream recently, and they talked a little bit about wanting to do some Ultimate Encounters and narrative events and things like that. And Ultimate Encounters are basically this type of way. It's like an alternate way to play against certain characters that might otherwise have the potential to be really, really powerful. Ultron, for example, it was the first free Ultimate Encounter they came out. It was just an alternate card, an alternate scenario, a way to play Ultron. Instead of just a single, normal, regular dude on a team, they gave you the way to make, like, it is Ultra Ultron, like from Age of Ultron, like a super boss level Ultron. And your entire team is just one guy. And it's him versus everybody else, and so that's kind of cool. And so they did like a resized kind of unit card for it. They came up with a whole scenario for it and all of that stuff. And they talked about maybe wanting to do that for something like that with Star Wars Legion. Simone Elliott brought up her dream was the Vader down scenario. Vader down would be basically Vader versus everybody, and this was based off of the popular Vader down comic run early in when Marvel started making Star Wars comic books after the Disney license kind of basically once Disney bought Star Wars, they started making Star Wars comics under Marvel. And there was a Darth Vader series that was running for a while, and about maybe 10 issues in, 20 issues in, or something like that, they switched. They ran this mini series called Vader Down. It was a story of Vader kind of getting shot down and being stranded on a planet surrounded by rebels. Although he really didn't get shot down, he more like got crashed into because they couldn't take him down, so somebody had to kind of crash into him. I think it was actually Luke that crashed into him. I have these comics, I just haven't read them in a while because usually I read them in seal and put them in the bag and board and put them away. But it was a pretty good series. And the culmination of it, like the high point of it, was this series where the rebels was like, whoa, wait, that was Vader. He went down. This is our chance. And so they send everybody after him, and they get to hit the wreckage. He kind of steps out of his tie, and like, lay down your weapons. You are surrounded. And he replies with this epic scene. And you probably have seen Darth Vader's new command card if you have the Darth Vader operative card in Star Wars Legion. All I am surrounded by is fear and dead men. It's awesome. It's and he kills all of them. He kills all of them. So I feel like, well, maybe Vader Down's not the because then you'd have one guy just completely kill everybody. No, but it'd be a fun scenario, something to kind of go along with that. You do like an enraged type of Vader that is, he's pulling all the weight of the dark side to just fight a full rebel list. Now, it's kind of unclear exactly how many rebels you would take against Vader. Maybe you would make it 800 points, so you just do a one-on-one, and it'd be a fun kind of scenario because it could be a free expansion that they just say, here's the rules for, and let's run it.
Or it could be a team-based thing. Like they could have a 1600-point version where you actually go up against 2 lists. And it'd be fun depending on how they want to do it, because it makes sense if it's Rebels, but it would be also really fun if you could go up against 2 completely different lists. And they're both trying to be the ones that get the most hits on Vader. Whoever does the most damage to Vader gets a victory point for every damage they deal or whatever. And so you guys are competing against each other trying to kill Vader. Like that would be a cool way. We really have no idea what they're going to do. But I think making it versatile would be fun, and if they want to do narrative events for conventions, I think that would be really fun too. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. So I decided, at first I was thinking, well, let me try my hand at a Vader down scenario, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do a Vader down scenario, because if they're already going to work on that, like, why should I, I mean, it may be a long time. So I was thinking about it, but I'm like, maybe I could put my efforts to better use and come up with an ultimate Palpatine. Because if there's somebody that really should have the power to really unleash and take on the entire Rebel army all by himself, Vader's a good candidate. But I think Palpatine is an even better candidate. One of these books, what is it, like him and Vader basically get stranded on this planet with like 2 royal guards, and they just have to fight swarms and swarms of like aliens and Cham Syndulla and all these monsters and creatures, and and then you kind of see Palpatine open up a little bit. And so I thought that would be a fun excuse to say, let's try an ultimate encounter and see how it would work. And this is just my theory on one way that it could work. It obviously doesn't mean this is how Atomic Mass Games is going to do it, but I figured it's worth a shot. And I think this could also be compatible with my AI system, which is another fun way to do it. If you want to play as Ultimate Palpatine and go up against an entire like a Rebel army all by yourself, here's a way to do it. And I'm going to kind of talk about, and it's going to seem strong, right? Because it's an 800-point unit. It's gonna seem pretty strong. So let's look at Ultimate Palpatine. Here he is. It's a big card, right? This is kind of about the size of the Marvel Crisis Protocol cards in that they're really long. Like you got a lot of abilities. You've got only one guy. He's your entire army. So yeah, he's 800 points. He's your only guy. So he is an ultimate character, and that's the first keyword he's got. Now, I'll talk about the different keywords and some of the design decisions that went into him. He keeps immune to Pierce, which he had already. And he keeps the same exact weapon. He's still got the Force Lightning as range 1 to 2, which you'd think would be pretty tough to use. But there's ways, because he's going to activate after every time somebody else activates. So he's going to go over and over and over again. So he's going to go multiple times, which is very, very strong. However, you have only one guy. He's also got 16 health. He has no courage value. He's so enraged he cannot possibly run. I kind of think of this as Palpatine from the end of Episode 9, where he had just kind of absorbed all of the energy. He's got all of the Sith in him, and he is furious, and he is going crazy. So, like, it's that kind of Palpatine. He's got 16 health. He's ultra amped up. And I want you to keep in mind that he's going to seem strong, and I'll talk about why I think he needs to be as strong as he is, and in ways that will still crush him. Because look, every single time somebody hits him, that's they just hit every unit in your army, right? So that's something to think about. So his first keyword is that he's an ultimate character. And this is a keyword that if I do more of these, all of them will probably have, right? Do not use command cards or issue orders. You don't get any command cards. It's just him. Instead, activate an ultimate character every time your opponent ends an activation. And I wanted to write that in a way that if we were to change it up and do like weaker ones, like maybe we did a Han and Chewie, and they're each 400 points, and they're half ultimate characters, like maybe they're not quite as powerful. You can choose which one to activate. So you can do this one, then that one, then this one, then so So I made it. I wanted to future-proof that keyword a little bit. I gave him Anger of the Sith. For every 5 damage you have, roll 1 additional red die when attacking. So when you start, he starts off, he's not that bad, but as he gets closer and closer to death, his lightning hits a lot harder. So he can potentially roll up to 3 extra dice when attacking, which is good. He's got a Force Leap ability. This is the thing he did in Episode 3, where he kind of did his little twirl. So he kind of has that in the Battlefront game too, where he can get a little burst of speed, because he's still speed 1. While performing a move action, you may deal 1 damage to yourself to increase speed by 1 and ignore terrain height 1 or less for that move. Limit once per activation. So basically, it's a combination of jump and an increase to your speed, like a spur and jump. But you don't get you don't have to worry about suppression because you have a courage value of nil. So you cannot get suppression tokens, which means you also will never benefit from light cover if you're out in the open from suppression because you cannot have suppression tokens. So Force Leap is a big deal for him. But the thing is, he's gonna have to take damage. So he's got some amazing abilities, but he's gonna hurt himself every time he does this. So it's like a limited resource. And over the course of 6 turns, if he wants to do this too much, he's gonna start taking more and more damage. Although he can use that to his advantage if he's got at like maybe 4 health and he wants to get that 1 more damage on him, he can do a Force Leap and do that. He's got Force Premonition. When you are declared the target of an attack, gain a dodge token. Now, this is, I wanted to give him some kind of like armor, like just a way to stop like the death by 1,000 cuts and be able to, like kind of shrug off the 1 hits at a time. And that's one of the things that this is supposed to do. If you're attacked a whole bunch of times, you can save the dodge tokens, you can spend them, you can do whatever you want with it. But that's basically, he is kind of anticipating an attack coming. He's got heightened reflexes. And it's going to be every time he is attacked. So basically, you want big attacks to go on him. It's almost like he has armor 1, right? From a certain point of view. And that's kind of a way for me to do that. I didn't want to give him armor 1 though, because it didn't kind of make sense thematically. So I just called it Force Premonition, and it works a little differently because he can potentially he can be arrogant and be like, I'm going to save the dodge tokens of these little ones, and then he might get a damage through if he doesn't stop the hit, and then maybe rolls blanks on his reds. He's got Lightning Rage. You may suffer a damage to make a bonus attack. You may then suffer 2 more damage to immediately make a second bonus attack. Limit once per turn. So basically he can do like the death blossom. There we go. But to make multiple attacks. Now he has to get close because his attacks are only range 2. So his little 1 pip, he can't do it as many times, but he can do it. He can basically attack twice every turn, and maybe 3 times a turn if you want to take lots of damage. You're gonna be taking 3 damage to do that though. So that's a rough one. He's got Presence of the Dark Side. At the start of each round, assign 1 suppression token to every enemy trooper at range 1 to 3. He's got a very intimidating presence. He's scaring these guys. Range 1 to 3. Everybody starts off with a suppression token. This can be good. He doesn't have sharpshooter or whatever, so this means if he does go to attack you, you're going to have at least light cover, right? So that's actually could potentially benefit certain rebel lists, like Pathfinders and people with danger sense are going to get a little bit of a benefit from that, but generally it's meant to kind of scare people away because he's a big, scary dude. But it also kind of works into his ability of Master of Manipulation. I wanted to give him like an enhanced version of pulling the strings. Or kind of like a cross between that and then Jedi Luke's ability where he can, you serve your master well. And so he's going to manipulate stuff. At the end of each round, you may temporarily take control of a suppressed enemy unit, recover it, and then activate it as if it were your own unit. Basically, if somebody's still suppressed at the end of the round, of course, that'll be harder to do with your Presence of the Dark Side, because Presence of the Dark Side is going to be at the beginning, and they're of course going to rally and then remove a suppression at the end. So after everybody removes their suppression, if somebody's still suppressed, you can take control of them. Now, that'll be a little easier to do with simple core units. It'll be harder to do against, the higher courage units. It's going to be really hard to do against somebody like Luke Skywalker, for example. It won't be that easy to do. But there's a way that you can really dedicate yourself to doing it. And we're going to go down with that a little further. With the telepathic, you see the double action, telepathic dominance. Choose an enemy trooper at range 1 to 3 and assign it a suppression token. Now that sounds like a really extreme ability to take 2 actions. But don't forget, this is a guy who is able to activate after every one of your activations. So if you can get close enough and maybe you just want to kind of hide and I'm going to hide in the shadows and just try to, throw more and more suppression on Luke Skywalker, so I get to take a free action with him. Now, granted, if you're Luke Skywalker and you know that something like that's coming, you can just kind of wait, activate him kind of later, and then do a recover and then purge a bunch of those. So you can actively resist this strategy against Palpatine as well. And also, if Palpatine's doing that, it means he's not doing anything else with his turn, because that takes both of his actions. So there's some different strategies for stuff like that. And I'll talk a little bit more about telepathic dominance here in a second. But he's also got Shockwave. If he dies, because in case there's always that chance where you roll, a clone attack with Z6 and then a fire support Z6, and it's 22 dice, and you might just get lucky and roll a bunch of crits or something, or roll a whole bunch of hits, and Palp just rolls a whole bunch of blank red dice on the first turn, and then just takes like 16 damage turn 1, or turn 2 or something like that. Like, that can happen. So I wanted to have a little bit of insurance about that, and I didn't want Palp to have like the ability to self-heal. I thought about that. I went back and forth, and I'm like, but if he had an action or something he could do every turn to potentially self-heal, then that could become really problematic, as many hit points as he has and as many times as he could activate. So I went in a different direction. I gave him a death save. And of course, this is also influenced by the fact that I've been playing a little bit more Diablo 3, and of course every character has a death save there. It's meant to be just a little bit of a death save. So basically, the first time this character is defeated, do not remove it from the board. Deal 2 damage to every enemy unit at range 1 to 2. Then return this character to life with 1 hit point. So basically, if you kill him, he lets out like an energy pulse, kind of like hurting everybody near him at range 1 to 2, and then then he's like ultra weak. Then he's 1 hit from death. So he might just kind of kamikaze and take you with him, and so I think that's cool. I think that's kind of a fun thing, and that could be potentially really, really strong. But that's coming, so you'll probably spread out just a little bit. And I think this is the type of list that you build, or the type of encounter that you build a list to go against specifically. And so while this seems really strong, one of the things I had to think about was, if you have only one guy and he has to get really up close to you, what's to stop a 10 or 11 point rebel activation from just doing standby, 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 and as soon as I move into range, I have, I've got a whole bunch of shots, and just getting unloaded on over and over and over and over and over again, like all at once. And so I think that there is, especially standby with fire support or something like that, like against a clone unit, for example. It's gonna be a lot of dice coming at you, potentially a lot of rerolls and things like that. So like that's a definite risk. And if you do find yourself, I think that's one of the avenues I wanted to give a Palpatine players. You can basically sacrifice an entire activation to just throw a single suppression on somebody, hopefully removing that standby. And I also made that a little bit farther range out. Now that uses his entire activation just for 1 standby token. So while it's not that strong, it really enhances his toolkit, because I wanted him to have ways to, I wanted him to be strong, but I didn't want him to be so strong that he could only be like Juggernaut, walk into the kill box and hope that he rolls good enough red dice. I wanted to give him some other tools as well. Now, this entire encounter, I don't have a scenario to go along with this one yet. Right now, it's just this one. So you can play with regular objectives. You can just do a straight death match with it against the AI system and just kind of see, last man standing sort of thing. But I think there's a lot of different ways that you could play around with this, and I think there's the possibility of a scenario to go along with this one to kind of enhance it. But I don't think it needs to go into a scenario. I think you could just play with this one as is. Obviously, there's going to be certain objectives that absolutely crush you. Right? There's going to be certain objectives that just wipe you out. If somebody's got I just have to put, I have to, capture the supplies. We can just take them, run away, and and that's it. And maybe you will, but you're going to have so many activations, I think you'll be able to catch up. Even at speed 1, you can just do move, 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 move. All right, I'm all the way across the battlefield, And so that's kind of the counter to that type of play. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I really love to hear from some of you guys if you print this out and start running it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. This is, again, this is nothing official. I put my little Crabbok logo on there just so people wouldn't think that this was like something from FFG or Atomic Mass Games or anything like that. This was just something that I worked on in my spare time, and it's free. So you can head over to Crabbok.com. You can get it there. We have other things. We have the AI system. If you don't already have the AI system, you can get that there as well. We also have similar types of free content for Star Wars Armada as well, and maybe more things coming in the future. So definitely check that out. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Let me know what you guys think of Ultimate Epic Palpatine, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Be sure to check it out. It's for free over on Crabbok.com. We've also got a collection of all my other like reviews, terrain reviews, playmat reviews, collectible reviews, like a lot of stuff like that. It's all over on Crabbok.com. And so, a lot of free stuff there. I just put that out so I can keep giving you guys things. It's a lot of us are still in lockdown, not able to really do much, and the AI system is good for that. And here's something totally new, a totally different way to play this game. And another thing that could be fun is another epic character at one point, and maybe you just take an epic Palpatine versus an epic Luke or something like that, and see, or an epic Obi-Wan or something like that, and see. I like the idea though of maybe a 400-point epic team of Han and Chewie. I think that would be a fun kind of approach, a different kind of approach, but I think that would be pretty cool. And I wonder how Han and Chewie, I'd have to have like them like really commandoed up, right? Like really loaded up with grenades and rocket launchers and stuff like that, to see how well they would do. I think there would be some kind of, like, they both activate and call in the Millennium Falcon to kind of crash land or something, like it's set to autopilot and it drops like a payload or something like that. I think there's some really cool things that could be done with the Ultimate Han and Chewie. But I'd like to work on more Ultimate encounters. I think they're fun optional ways to play the game, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Be sure to check out the Discord. Enter that painting competition. Check the other links in the description below. If you're looking to check out t-shirts, masks, or whatever other ways to support the channel, lots of those in the links down there. I want to thank you so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons as well. You guys are awesome, and I couldn't do this without your continued support. So thank you for continuing to support the channel, and as always, have a great day.